Do you know about the Titanic PCP incident with the clam chowder?
I read a little bit about it when you were talking about it.
I was just blown away by the fact that like I've been such a huge fan of Titanic most of my life, but B, that as many interviews as I've watched as Paxton over the years, because anytime Paxton does an interview, I'll usually watch it because he's really an interesting dude. But was rest in peace. But hearing him tell Larry King that story was pretty insane. And I mean, if for those who aren't aware of it, there was a incident on a shooting day of Titanic where none of the main cast were there. So like Leo DiCaprio, Kate Winslet, they were not there. But it was Cameron, it was Bill Paxton, it was some of the other side characters, and then a bunch of crew people. And apparently at some point in the lunch, PCP got mixed into the clam chowder.
It happens. Yeah.
So huge Hollywood
Do they have
movie.
any idea how?
No one has never come forward. No one has ever admitted to it.
And
like
we're sure he didn't just tell that story to see if Larry King was awake.
no,
Okay.
because he's not the only one that's been recorded and seen telling that story.
Okay.
Because basically, from what I understand from his version of it, because Cameron also has a version of it too, but from his version, they'd gotten through lunch. They both of them had a little bit of clam chowder, and one of the set PAs came up to him and was just like, "Hey, did you guys eat the clam chowder?" And Bill was like, "Well, yeah, I had a little bit." And Jim was like, "Yeah, I had a bowl." And he's like, "Okay, just watch yourselves. There might be something going on with it." And then word got that people were starting to freak out. There was a bunch of singing going around on. Some of the set people like locked themselves in an office and started like doing like a roller coaster thing. Apparently, Bill Paxton got into his weed bag that he had on set with him and smoked a little bit on top of it.
This is in Canada?
I think.
Where did they shoot it?
I can't remember, actually.
You said, where'd you say this part happened?
I don't think I said. Let me check though. Hang on. Let's see. Halifax, Nova Scotia.
I thought that was
Yeah. So PCP got into the clam chowder on the set of Titanic one day, and apparently just chaos erupted. And my first time hearing this story, I was just like, we just got that movie Saturday Night, all about Saturday Night Live. I want a movie on this.
My question.
Yeah.
I mean, I have a lot.
Yeah.
Was anyone like medically confirmed to be on PCP?
So let's see. Okay, we had a room full of for grips and electricians. One of the guys started talking really hyper. He's a big guy, like 6'4", and says, "Do you guys feel okay?" Let's see. Bill Paxton was a real sweetie. He was sitting next to me in the hallway of the hospital. They went to the hospital, it looks like. Okay, here we go. Many crew members were sent to Dartmouth General Hospital. Cameron recalled the incident in 2009 interview with Vanity Fair, saying, "People are moaning, crying, wailing, collapsed on tables and gurneys. The DP, Caleb Deschanel, is leading a number of crew down the hall on a highly vocal conga line. You can't make this stuff up," is what he says.
I mean, I do think you can make this stuff up. I'm not saying they did, though. But see, if it were a drug that I would assume would be on a movie set, I would have less questions.
Yeah.
If it were speed or cocaine, I would be like, oh, wow. But like, how do you get PCP in, you said clam chowder?
It says all hell broke loose August 9th, 1996 on the film set in Halifax, Nova Scotia, when craft services provided clam chowder that happened to be spiked with the drug. Halifax was where Cameron filmed the Titanic framing device scenes featuring Bill Paxton as the leader of an expedition that discovers Rose's necklace. So it was with that side of the production. So it wasn't like on the major ship.
Just
Variety
PCP.
Covered the story. Yeah.
I mean, Variety, covered it.
CBC covered it. Global News covered it. Business Insider covered it. Let's see, The Guardian.
So apparently there are theories that I found by using Google, which means, hey, Gemini, you're trying your best. Theories on how it happened: disgruntled crew member or caterer.
Yeah, I can see that.
This is the most widely discussed theory. According to James Cameron, the director, they had fired a crew member the day before the incident who had been causing trouble with the caterers.
That's a hell of a way to get back at him.
I love it's like, well, if he was like a problem crew person, I guess that could be because they were fucking using angel dust.
On August 26, 1996, the Canadian press reported that nearly 80 people were taken to the hospital from the set of Titanic for what was initially thought to be food poisoning. However, the Halifax Regional Police investigated the incident and found that someone had laced the seafood chowder with PCP.
So I'm looking at this. I want to fully understand this because I don't have any interesting anecdotes. My ear is still somewhat painful.
It's okay. I came prepared to talk about this today.
So this theory suggests that the crew members seeking revenge deliberately poisoned the clam chowder as a way to retaliate against the caterers and potentially disrupt production.
Yeah.
However, the fired employee was not seen back on set after their dismissal, making it difficult to understand how they could have accessed the catering kitchen. Another theory is prank gone wrong. The PCP was known to be used recreationally, and some speculate that someone intended to create a fun atmosphere but misjudged the dosage and the effects of the drug. However, nobody has ever claimed responsibility for the prank, and no traces of PCP were found on anyone present on the set.
That does sound like a disgruntled. So Vice in 2017 interviewed Marilyn McAvoy, who was a standby painter on set. And she says, the chowder was unbelievable. People were going back for second bowls. I really thought about going back because it was so good. And I think that was part of the problem. People ate a lot more than usual because it was so delicious. There was no indication that there was anything strange happening until the meal. By the time we got back from eating, after about 30 minutes, that's when I started noticing something was wrong. Everyone seemed confused. Everyone was having trouble getting their work done. While I was trying to figure out what was going on, everyone else seemed to be going outside. They were all gathering outside of the giant doors of the building we were working on. I also heard later on that as soon as Cameron realized something had been put in the chowder, he ran up to his room and forced himself to throw up.
So there is no evidence that PCP was on the set, as far as I can tell. Yeah. Like nobody did a drug test or anything.
Yeah.
But then my question becomes, who said we're on PCP?
Well, I'm seeing a newspaper clipping that says Titanic mystery, who spiked the chowder, from 1998 newspaper. Some disagreement exists over the exact number of people who were sickened on the type of chowder that was laced with PCP. So yeah, it doesn't say in regards to anything of confirmation of PCP. I'm on Snopes right now, by the way.
I'm just curious because like what made them decide that it was PCP?
I do not know.
One big thing the police pointed out was PCP was not common in that part of Canada, but is very common in Hollywood. But I mean, I don't ever hear people. I mean, I know PCP cause euphoria, calmness, lethargy, hallucinations, agitation. It must be fun because some people take it for fun, but
doesn't sound like this is a very fun thing.
No. Yeah, I'm just curious because like if somebody got it in their head that they had been poisoned with PCP, it could have been some kind of a mass hysteria.
All I'm saying is, whoever works at Netflix, Hulu, and is listening to this podcast right now, you've got a great movie here that you call Abandoned Ship, the story of the Titanic PCP incident or something along those lines, because this is a story that needs to be told through film. Just saying.
See, I'm reading an interview with Cameron. He said, we have a pretty strong suspicion of who it was, although it was never proven.
Confirmed.
We believe the story is that somebody who had a beef with the caterers because the first thing we did was fire the caterers. And, sure enough, we had some leads on that. Of course, the operating theory was that I was such a psychomaniac that the perpetrator was trying to get back at me, but I reject that theory out of hand for obvious reasons.
They officially closed the case on February 12th of 99, though a 10-page report that included redacted statements was assembled. No suspects were identified by the Halifax Police Department. Decades later, however, the incident resurfaced thanks to the efforts of Trisha Ralph.
Yeah, this is a fascinating, bizarre concept that they were drugged with PCP of all things.
Yeah.
I just would expect and just about any other drug.
Yeah, that's what I would think too. That's why when I saw Paxton's interview for the first time, I was like, holy shit. Like I was just shocked that this only came into my eardrums in the last, I don't know, month, I think is when I found this out.
I can't lie, I'm surprised. Is it even on the Wikipedia?
I do not know.
Or like the IMDb trivia page?
Probably on the trivia. I don't know about Wikipedia. Let me check though. No, I'm curious. Let's see.
I think it's PCP.
Reproductions.
Because like that's a hell of a way to poison people. Because I mean, I've heard bad clams can do awful things to you.
So it doesn't have a content section for like incident or anything like that I'm seeing.
Yeah, this is a strange one. Trivia.
Checking other media legacy. Yeah, it's not on the official Titanic page.
That's so strange, man.
But I mean, we're talking the article, like I said, dated back in like 2017. So I mean, they've been talking about this for a bit.
It's not on the Titanic IMDb trivia either.
I'm shocked at that.